Hey guys, it's Dr. Bickling from Own It Dental. As always, here's my contact information if you need to get a hold of me. If you guys are enjoying these videos, please do hit that thumbs button, that like button. It's right down below. It's like right there. It only takes you a second and it'll make me aware that you're enjoying these videos because I really am concerned about it. Speaking of awareness and concern, today we're going to talk about awareness and concern. Last week I told you that your doctors are unproductive because of one of three reasons. Either they're underdiagnosing, which for most doctors is not the case. Either they're not communicating properly, which is what we're going to start talking about in this video and future videos coming up, or they're overdiagnosing and they're blowing patients out of the water. Well, the first reason and the last reason, those are easy enough to fix. It's the communication issue that's the problem. And that's what we're going to dig into today. All right, so today we're going to talk about the first part of communication, and that's awareness and concern. You know, when I was a young dentist, I was taught that the word doctor means teacher, and it's my job to educate patients. And the reason why patients don't get dentistry done is because they have a low dental IQ, and I need to raise their dental IQ. I need to educate them and inform them. And the better job I did of that, the more they'd say yes to treatment, and I'd do more dentistry and be a successful dentist. But the reality was, for a few years of my career, I'd go in, I'd see all the dentistry that the patients needed, and I'd painstakingly teach them what was going on and what I could do to solve it. And time after time and time again, the patients just said, okay, and they left out the door and didn't do anything, right? And I wasn't a very successful dentist. But then one day I read this book, and I got to give credit to Paul Homily because this is the book that changed my career and how I communicate with patients. Isn't it wonderful when patients say yes? And this taught me about the awareness and concern. So some of the stuff that's in this video came from Paul Homily, and I have to give him credit. I've expanded upon that and added some of my own stuff. So let's start digging into it and see what we have. So one of the first things I'm always trying to look for when a patient comes into my chair or in the hygiene chairs, are they aware of any problems? And that's reflected with one of the first questions I ask them. So, what brings you in to see us today? Question mark, right? And that's to get an idea of what they're aware of, if there's anything going on. Then my second question to them is, is there anything bothering you? In other words, are you concerned with anything? And today we're going to talk about awareness and concern because any of the dentistry that's in a patient's mouth is going to fall into one of four categories. Now let me grab my pointer here. All right, so the dentistry that's going on in a patient's mouth is going to fall into one of four categories. They're either going to be aware and concerned about it, unaware but concerned about it, aware but unconcerned about it, or unaware and unconcerned. So let's dig into each one of these one at a time. First, we're going to deal with aware and concerned. All right, so the patient comes in, Doc, I cracked my front tooth. I was riding my bike and I hit a tree. They're aware that it's happened and they're concerned that it's happened. It hurts and I want you to fix it, right? So in a case like this, what's the likelihood of case acceptance? It's very high case acceptance. They're aware of what's going on and they're concerned about it. Next is unaware but concerned. Doc, I got a pain over here. Can't tell if it's top, can't tell if it's bottom. It's bugging me and I want you to fix it. They're unaware of what's going on. They don't know what's happening. Something's hurting them and they're concerned about it. So all we have to do is diagnose this, in essence, make them aware, but they're concerned about it. What's the likelihood of case acceptance in this one? Very high, of course. Aware but unconcerned. Mr. Jones, I see you have a missing tooth here. Tell me about that. Yeah, it's been missing for 15 years, and my wife still thinks I'm pretty, and I chew my food just fine, so I don't really care too much. So, he's aware that he has a missing tooth. He just doesn't give a crap about it. So, what are we going to do? We're going to give him a $5,000, $6,000 implant option, right? What's the likelihood of case acceptance? It's pretty low, okay? He's aware of the problem. He's just not very concerned about it. And then this is our classic perio patient. They come in, they've got, all the barnacles all over their teeth. They don't even know, what's going on. You can smell them from a room away, right? And you enter the room and the temperature of the room is probably 5 degrees warmer than the rest of the office, and you say, hey, They don't know what's going on, doesn't hurt them, and they don't worry about it. And you ask them if there's anything going on, they're like, yeah, can I get that free whitening that you guys are doing, right? They're unaware and they're unconcerned. What do? We give them a $1,200, you got to come back 2 times, we got to numb up your mouth, and it's going to cost you $1,000, right? What's the likelihood of case acceptance? Pretty low in that situation as well. So, like I said, all the dentistry that's in a patient's mouth is going to come into one of 4 categories: aware and concerned, unaware but concerned, aware but unconcerned, unaware and unconcerned. This is a very important point, and this is where I got things wrong as a young dentist. Educating patients only serves to raise their awareness, not their level of concern. So as I'm sitting there talking and yakking and yakking and yakking and teaching patients and educating them and raising their dental IQ, all I'm doing is making them more aware. I'm not making them more concerned. In essence, I'm taking this guy who was already concerned and saying yes, and I'm moving him over here to somebody who is already concerned and saying yes. And the same thing down here. If this person comes in, they're not in any pain, they didn't know they have a problem, then I educate them and I'm just moving them this way. I'm making them aware, but I'm not necessarily making them concerned. These 2 people up here were already saying yes, and these 2 people down here were saying no or not right now. And the more I keep educating them, the more I keep talking, I'm just going blah, 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 blah. So, and I think back to dental school, and I think back to, what we were taught when we were doing exams. And, we had this like 13-page, comprehensive evaluation, folder, and what were like the first 6 pages of it, right? Perio, right? So that's what we're taught to talk about first. And I know that perio is the foundation and it is most important, and maybe we do treat it first, but maybe it's not the first thing that we talk about. Instead of us talking about this first, maybe we talk about what they're aware of first and what they're concerned with first. What better way to not gain rapport or trust with somebody when you start talking about something they don't care about, right? Start with the thing that they do care about first and they are concerned with and aware of, and then start moving to these categories. What you're going to do is, by starting here first, you're going to be building credibility and trust with the patient because you're starting with something that they care about, that they're concerned with. So like I said, this is the zone up here where patients say yes to treatment, and this is the zone down here where patients say either no or not right now. And again, if we had to choose which one it was, is it awareness or concern? It's concern. People buy on emotion and then they justify with logic. So, concern is an emotion. People buy with emotion, and the awareness is logic. They justify with logic. So people say yes or no, not based on what they're aware of, but based on what they're concerned with. All right. So if we want somebody to say yes to treatment, we don't want to move them this way. We want to move them this way. Right? We want to raise their level of concern. We want to raise their level of emotion. All right? So how do we do it? And the answer is you can't. Concern, it's an emotion. It's a subjective emotion. And it's the patient's emotion. The reality is that you can raise somebody's level of concern, but I'm not going to teach you that on this video. I'll teach you that on the next video. But we do have to realize that these patients, they know that having a broken tooth or a missing tooth or something like that, they know that it needs to be fixed. So avoiding dental treatment isn't logical. I mean, unless you're a hockey player, then it makes sense. But these patients, they know that that broken tooth needs to be fixed, but they're not concerned about it, not because of awareness, but because of other reasons. And that reason is called the objection. All right, there's something preventing their brain from becoming conserved. Maybe it's the cost, maybe it's fear, maybe it's something, maybe it's time, maybe it's something else. But we're going to get into those objections in the next video, and we're going to talk about how do we overcome them. Because as we all know, that when a patient walks out the door, if they don't say yes to treatment, you haven't helped them. They're not better off. And us educating them only serves to move them this way on the board, not this way. We got to learn to move them up, right? We got to raise their level of concern. So we're going to start talking about the objection and how to overcome the objection in the next video. But right now, what I want you to do is, when a patient comes in, I want you to first start talking about the dentistry that they're aware of and that they're concerned with. And then we can move into the stuff that maybe they're unaware of and unconcerned with. You do that because you want to build trust, you want to build rapport, and you want to start with the things that the patients know what's going on, and then they're worried about what's going on. That doesn't mean you don't get to treat the periodontal disease first. It just means that I want you to talk about the things that the patients are aware of and are concerned with, because the idea is that we want to build trust with them by speaking the language that they already know what's going on in their mouth. So again, I'm Dr. Bickling. Here's my contact information. Feel free to rewind this video and watch it as many times as you like. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one. I'll talk to you soon. Bye. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more content like it, go to ownitdental.com or click the link above and check out my services. I have dozens of hours of training videos and I've negotiated reduced lab fees for all my clients. So if you want to get out of the dental chair and start owning your business, go to ownitdental.com and check out my services, and I'll see you soon.